You know preachers, men of God, saved and sanctified, heaven-focused, definitely not carnal-minded. This one was, let's just say, earth-friendly. His name? Jim Bakker. Jim Bakker built an air-conditioned doghouse with his congregation's money, paid $279,000 to cover up the very carnal things he did to a 21-year-old church secretary. Then went back to the pulpit the following Sunday. Then he sold 150,000 people a piece of heaven. James Orson Bakker was born in Muskegon, Michigan in 1940, son of a factory worker. Modest beginnings. He met TammyFaye Bakker at North Central University in Minneapolis. They married in 1961, dropped out of college together, became itinerant evangelists, traveling from church to church, town to town, preaching the gospel, building an audience. He was ordained a minister in 1964, started working in Christian broadcasting, found his calling, not preaching, not caring for widows and the poor, television. He had a gift for it, charisma, warmth, the ability to make millions of people feel like he was speaking directly to them. In 1974, he launched the Praise the Lord Club, the PTL Club, with his wife, TammyFaye. By 1978, they reached 13 million viewers. 13 million people tuned in every week to hear Jim Bakker tell them God had a plan for their lives. PTL grew into something extraordinary, a satellite network, reaching households across America. At its peak, generated $126 million a year. He built Heritage USA in Fort Mill, South Carolina, a Christian theme park, 2,300 acres of land, hotels, a water park, an amphitheater, condominiums, a shopping mall. The third most visited theme park in America at its peak, behind only Disney World and Disneyland. Jim Bakker was not a small operation. He was an empire. And then he had an idea. Lifetime partnerships. Pay $1,000 and receive the right to stay at Heritage USA for 3 nights every year. For life. It sounded like a great deal. It sounded like community. It sounded like belonging to something bigger than yourself. People sent money. Lots of people. Retirees on fixed incomes, widows, working-class families, people who saved and sacrificed to be part of Jim Bakker's vision. He promised to limit grand hotel partnerships to 25,000. He sold 66,683, more than double. Then he did the same thing with other lodging partnerships. By the end, over 150,000 partnerships had been sold. Raised an estimated $158 million from these partnerships. He oversold availability. I guess God works in mysterious ways. And where did that money go? Not into the facilities he promised. It was going somewhere else entirely. Vacation homes in California and Florida, a lakefront parsonage, a houseboat, a private jet, 2 Rolls-Royces, a Mercedes, and perhaps the most memorable detail of this entire case, an air-conditioned doghouse. He built an air-conditioned doghouse with money donated by people who believed they were building God's kingdom here on earth. The personal lifestyle was extraordinary. $3.7 million in ministry funds diverted for personal use. TammyFaye's shopping was legendary. Her makeup alone became a national joke. While their followers sent in their last dollars, the Bakkers were living like royalty. On those dollars. And to make sure nobody found out, Jim Bakker kept 2 sets of books, one for the public, one for reality. The gap between those 2 sets of books was where the miracles happened. Then came Jessica Hahn, a 21-year-old church secretary. On December 6, 1980, in a Clearwater Beach hotel room in Florida, Jim Bakker had a sexual encounter with her. Jessica Hahn's account was that she was drugged and raped by Bakker and another preacher named John Wesley Fletcher. Bakker denied that it was rape. He never denied the encounter. He said it was consensual. Regardless, he was still married to TammyFaye at the time of the entanglement. I guess he forgot. Thou shalt not commit adultery. $279,000 in ministry funds was paid to Jessica Hahn as hush money, paid through a PTL associate named Roe Messner, the same Roe Messner who would later marry TammyFaye after her divorce. Jim Bakker never denied making this payment. For 7 years, it worked. Millions came in. Questions didn't, until reporters started asking them. The Charlotte Observer spent years pulling at the thread. They found the oversold partnerships, the hidden books, the hush money, the spending. Once the story broke, the ministry collapsed. Jerry Falwell took over. PTL filed bankruptcy, more than $60 million in debt. Then, the federal government arrived. 24 counts, mail fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy. The jury didn't need long. Guilty on all counts. The judge wasn't impressed either. He called Bakker's crimes those of the worst kind, because they preyed on religious people who trusted him. Sentenced to 45 years in federal prison, later reduced to 8. Served about 5 years, released in 1994. You'd think prison would have changed him. It didn't. So much for old things passing away. After prison, he went right back to television. New show, new ministry, new wife. Same formula, different audience. I guess he preached to his congregation a lot about second chances. During the COVID-19 pandemic, his ministry promoted a colloidal silver supplement, called it the Silver Solution. They claimed it could cure the coronavirus. The FDA disagreed. Along with the FTC, it issued a warning letter. New York issued a cease and desist order. Missouri and Arkansas filed consumer fraud lawsuit. The case was eventually settled. Jim Bakker paid thousands of dollars in restitution and refunds to customers. Jim Bakker didn't just steal money. He stole trust. The kind of trust people reserve for God. And that may have been the most expensive thing he ever took. He convinced people that giving to him was giving to God. Then he asked them to store up treasures in heaven, while he stored his in California, Florida, his garage, and even his dog's house. Jim Bakker found the most valuable currency, faith, and he spent it on himself.